Welcome to the Life of KG, your ultimate destination for all things motivation and business insights. Join me, Katie Godfrey, serial entrepreneur and the brains behind the KG brand. Along the way, we'll welcome inspiring guests and share invaluable business tips to fuel your growth journey. Don't miss out. Hit that subscribe button and leave us a review. With that said, let's dive into the world of success together. Hey everyone, welcome back to a solo episode of The Life of KG. I first want to ask you a question. Are you currently using AI within your business in some way, shape or form? If you're not, why? I'm generally asking you that out of love because you need to start using it. And if you're not, you're already making things really difficult for yourselves. Now, the one thing that I'm hearing all the time from everyone in business and just life is that I haven't got time to do things. You know, there isn't enough hours in a day. I've got this never-ending to-do list. And it's like, this is what we need to start using AI for because it helps with productivity. Now, I always joke, it's not really a joke, that, AI is going to take over. There's going to be no jobs left. We're okay in the service-based industry. I think we're safe for a good few years yet. But there are things that we should be using now to heighten our productivity as much as possible. Now, at the moment, you'll see that I'm partnered with a company and we've been doing demo calls every now and then and getting people on those. And I will just quickly tell you about that because if you are a salon or clinic, this is how you can get so much more efficient and productive by using AI agents in your business. Now, you might be thinking, what is an AI agent? They are staff members, but we don't have to pay them sick pay and we don't have to pay them maternity pay. It's great. I mean, hopefully there'll be therapists one day so we don't have to hire those anymore either. But if you aren't currently using stuff like AI agents, this is where we will be left behind. And I don't say that to be fear-mongering or anything like that, but it's just the truth. Do you remember when online bookings first come out, or even before that, booking systems come out and you'd still have to book people in manually, but the booking system come out from the paper diary and everyone was like, wow. And then online bookings come out and there is still people now that don't use online bookings, and it baffles me. Why are you making life so much harder than it already is and not having online booking? Whereas now the next big thing in the world is AI agents and having things done for you like answering the phones. Lots of people might come back at me now and say, well, actually people book online, so why do we need people to manage the phones? But my gosh, the phones is such an important part of appointment setting. And I used to have a rule, lots of you would have heard of this before, but the phone would have to ring 3 times before a staff member had to get the phone. It couldn't ring out 5 times, 6 times. It had to be 3 times because of speed. Whereas now we don't have to worry about that. I also hear clients say to me, a staff member has to do voicemails in the morning or voicemails on a lunch break because of the voicemails that have stacked up over the day because people aren't answering the phone. Where if you don't answer the phone, that is definitely lost appointments right there. And if you're not answering them, how many people haven't left a voicemail? How many people wanted an answer to something there and then, or wanted to book an appointment there and then, so then they've gone to the competitor down the road because they answered the phone because they didn't have a loyalty to you at that point. So actually, if you brought in agents, the phone is getting answered 24/7, which is going to impact your bookings, which is going to impact you financially without you having to lift a finger or pay payroll. So it's definitely something that if you are a service-based business, you need to look into things like this. And lots of people will say, well, I don't want to take the human connection away. And I'm very big on human connection. People buy from people, we know that. But it's about being in a world that's more efficient, that is more productive, and that people are getting things fast because people are very impatient nowadays. And that's just going to get more and more where people just want answers now. Now, the company that I've partnered with, my gosh, when I went on a demo with them before I knew who they were, they reached out to me to tell them about this equipment that they had. And I was like skeptical, very. And then I went on to this demo and I was like, wow, you have just blown my mind. Like, how is this even possible? It integrates with all booking systems. Like, it sounds, you can tell it's AI, but we don't hide the fact it's AI. We don't pretend it's a human, but it's so efficient. Most probably knows more than a staff member would ever know because we've injected it with all the information personally about your business. It doesn't make mistakes. Like, it's just incredible. Also, it does things like fill in white spaces. So at the moment, we have a strategy in place to get old clients back. I'm not obviously going to say what that is because that's what my clients learn. But the strategy to go and get these old clients back can be quite time consuming, especially if you're having to do it yourself and not a team member. Whereas this does it straight away and takes zero time from you. And then ads. Ads at the moment is a real big thing. I actually spoke on ads the other day on social media because so many people are wasting their money on ads. And I'm just like, why are we doing this? Like, if your current content isn't converting, then don't waste money on ads. But this platform that we're using has it all built into it. So it's no extra spend, which is just amazing. So you can afford to play around with ads. You can be visible because the AI does it for us. Honestly, it's crazy. So that is an AI piece that you can bring into your business if you're a salon or clinic, because this company only deals with salon or clinics. Doesn't matter if you're solo, but talking about that type of industry. Then we've got things like what everyone is using right now is obviously ChatGPT, Claude, any type of software like that. Again, if you're listening and you're like, yeah, I haven't been on ChatGPT before, are you living under a rock? Like, what? Why aren't you using that? Like, don't make things difficult for yourself. Obviously, at the moment, the next big thing is Claude. I was thinking, my gosh, I cannot work out another platform right now. And I thought I will avoid it. And then I kept seeing it come up and I was like, no, okay, I need to know what Claude's about. And this is at the beginning of the year.
I am so privileged to know the inside of so many businesses, hundreds, if not thousands. And the one thing that loads of people struggle with is numbers. We make so much money, but then it's gone by the end of the month. We don't know where it's gone. We don't know our outgoings. We don't know our incomings. We don't know our profit margins with the treatments, which is an absolute must if we are running a business. I have been working long and hard creating an app that is for you to make sure that you know your numbers inside out and become the CEO you really need to be. So make sure you check out the show notes below and find out more.
So I paid for a training because that's going to speed me up rather than me having to try and figure it out myself. And I was mind blown with this. Like, the speed that we can work at now as business owners is actually incredible. Like, why would you not want to do that? But I know why people don't want to do that, because then they'll go, I don't have the time to learn the platform. Just like I nearly said that, like, I don't have the time to learn the platform, so I'll just carry on as I'm doing. Whereas you could carve out 2 days, not even that, a day, to work out how to use Claude, for example, or any other platform, inject it with all of your information, and then from that day, you're more productive. Whereas if you're like, no, but I just haven't got that day, and you're just making up excuses because you don't have that day, then you're just going to carry on with how you're doing now and the results that you're getting now and the productivity that you have. Anyway, I loved this training so much that I went to the person and said, how much can I pay for this to go into my mastermind portal so my masterminders can learn Claude and know how to set it up? Because one of the biggest things is lots of people have been using ChatGPT now for absolutely ages, and it's starting to sound like them and, you know, just be more like them. So to move to another platform, I'm going to have to retrain this robot up all over again. Whereas this training teaches you to bring everything from ChatGPT ChatGPT over to Claude. So we paid a nice healthy sum to the trainer, and we now have that in our training portals, which we're very happy about, because again, it's going to speed up my clients' productivity, which is what we all want. Now, the thing that we are seeing though a lot, and you guys are going to resonate with this, everything we're seeing on social media, in our emails, is so AI generated, it's turning people off using it. So what we're hearing is, I don't want to start using it because I'm going to start sounding the same as everyone else. Now, if you put rubbish into AI, you're going to get rubbish back out. It is only as good as what we are at programming it. So you have to program it to talk like you. So have conversations like it's a human. Like if it's coming out with words that you do not use, tell it, I don't use these type of words. Can we use these words instead? If there's certain punctuation that you don't like using, like the long lines that it uses, which I absolutely hate, it gives me the ick, then tell it you don't want it to use those anymore. And so really train it how you want. Sometimes when we used to do like any type of content and use AI, I would then always edit the content and I would feed back into the AI the content that I'd done. So I would say, I love what you've produced, but I want it to sound more like me. So this is what I've changed it to, and then copy and paste to what I've changed it to. So then it could learn like what I like doing and what I don't like sounding like, etc. Because we're finding that it's very generic stuff that's happening online at the moment. People are switching off very fast. As soon as they see the same emojis, the same long lines, the same, here is the truth lines, or, let's be honest lines, like everyone knows that you've just used AI. Now, everyone's using it, so that's not to say not to use it. Definitely use it. But we don't want to know that your brain is now no longer and that you're just using the AI instead. So you have to put in all of your stuff to make it sound like you. So if you are using it for social media, I always say that you have to see it as you're still the copywriter, you're still the writer, but the AI is the editor. So for me, when I'm doing any type of content, like whether that's socials, whether that's building programs, whether that's emails, anything, I will physically write like it's a Word document in AI, whether that's ChatGPT or whether that's Claude or something else. I will always write in the chat box like it's me, or some people like to talk. And I would pretend I'm writing the email on my system. So it's everything I physically wanted to say. I don't need it to think for me or give me the stories or anything like that, because I've already got them. But I want then it to make it sound more polished, or make sure there's no punctuation or spelling mistakes. I'm dyslexic, so for me, this is like brilliant. I'm just like, wow, there might not ever be a spelling mistake again. Even though sometimes it does make things American language if you're English or whatever. So you have to be careful of a few things, but yeah, no spelling mistakes for me is great. So just make sure that you're using it like that. If you're really stuck on content right now, like ask it, what are most people searching for right now? What are the top things that I should be writing in my content if my clients' pain points are, and then list all the clients' pain points. So let it know everything about your clients, let it know everything about your services and how you sell them, how that works. And it will come up with the content plans for you. Like, it's super easy now. Remember when we used to have to pay someone thousands to write content plans? Like, that's no longer. Like, you have this. But it's not the fact that it will spit out the most perfect content plan. It will give you the ideas. I feel like sometimes we're just so busy on the day-to-day that when you then have to sit back and do content, you're like, I don't even know what to say. There is no thought process that is coming to my mind whatsoever on what to do a reel on. Whereas if you can ask AI and then it gives you the ideas, even though they might not resonate or they might not be the perfect ideas yet, it will trigger your mind to go, oh yeah, actually I can change it to this, or I can change it to that. So it's really, really important to use it like that. Things like subject lines and emails. Sometimes you might be like, I don't know what subject line to put, what is catchy. So then you put boring subject lines like May news, like no one is going to open that. So use the content that you've wrote in the email and then be like, can you make some clickbait subject lines for me to choose from? And then it'll produce them and then you can choose them. So don't just come out with the first thing that it thinks of either. Ask it for different versions. Make sure that it's always got your ideal client in mind and all of that. So if you're not using that, then I definitely would. Obviously now there's Claude Co-work. I don't know if any of you have used it at the moment. I'm dipping my toe in with it, but I don't really need support like diary management and stuff like that. It's very good for creating carousel posts. But the one thing I would again say is everyone's carousels are very much looking all the same and it's extremely boring. So remember, when we're producing content on socials especially, we're wanting to stop the scroll. Do you think you're stopping the scroll? Do you think you're stopping the scroll if your carousel post looks exactly the same as someone underneath? No, because the visual just isn't there. So please just make sure that if you are using it, you are still putting your own spin on it as much as possible. Put a picture on that's yours. Just don't use the same. It's honestly, I just really hate it when everyone's using the same stuff. But that's why engagements drop so much as well, right? Like people aren't as engaged in our stuff because it's just the same stuff. So just bear that in mind. I'll give you an idea for something that you guys can use for your content, because obviously content is just everything right now and everything that people struggle with. So if you was to write an email, you'd write the email into Claude or ChatGPT, and you can then tell it to polish up the email. And then from there, you'd say, can you give me 5 posts for my social media? And then it will give you your 5 posts and you can tweak and you can change them. Then with that one piece of content, you can go from here. Can you create me a blog post? Or can you create me a LinkedIn post or a magazine article? No matter what it is, all the different things that you need to create content for. Because going back to things that I've said previously about being visible, that also means that we need to have time to be able to be visible in X amount of platforms. And that's hard for anyone when we're just trying to keep our head afloat and run this business. But using it for that productivity tool is going to help you so much. Reproduce content, repurpose content. That's what we want to use it for. So say, for example, this podcast now, lots of it is edited after with AI. What I mean by that is I'll get the transcript from YouTube once it's uploaded. I'll then use that transcript to producing me my show notes for Spotify, for Apple, and then different ones for YouTube, and then the actual episode name, and then I'll get it to maybe write me an article about the subject that we were talking about, and then I'll get it to do me a blog post, and then I might get it to do me a LinkedIn post. Do you know how much time this used to take me? Bear in mind we've had the podcast now for like 8 years. How long this used to take me. I used to dread the days I had to work on the podcast because it would take me so long to just do one episode. It now takes me roughly about 30 minutes to do all of those pieces of content from one episode, which is insane because we used to have a bigger team in this and now we don't actually need the bigger team. So we've cut costs dramatically. So that just gives you a good example of what you can be doing when using AI. So definitely give that a go with your content to put more content out there. Any of you that are in the Salon Success Manager right now, if you don't know what the Salon Success Manager is, it's my app which helps you with all things money, finances, all the unsexy things. But I always say money is not sexy until we start making it. And then we're like, yeah, okay, I love this. But what we've also done is we've always had KG AI, the mentor. And everyone loves this product. Loads of you listening will already have this, and it's like having me in your back pocket 24/7. Well, now I've actually merged the two together. So the KG AI is now within the Salon Success Manager. I know, genius. I'm so excited for this. As I'm recording this, it comes out next week, but this will already be out by the time this episode airs. Join my 2027 retreats. Oh my gosh, if you haven't been on one of my retreats, you need to come and join one. And in 2027, we have Dubai in April and we have Bali in October. Dubai, think business strategy and mindset, and in Bali, think healing and mindset. They're both going to be very different and equally incredible. So if you want more information, let me know. The link is below. But also, I know it feels ages away, but the spaces go ridiculously fast and we're putting long payment plans in place. So make sure you grab your space today. But having me in your back pocket at all times is going to help you when you're stuck on productivity, when you want to know how to launch a product, if you've got some mindset blocks, if you've got some issues with staff. Like, everyone's like, I just wish I could just message you. Now, my clients do. My clients get the human me in their back pocket. But if you aren't a client of mine yet, but you still wish you had that, you now get that with KG AI, but inside the Salon Success Manager app. So then we can really get you leveling up as a business owner, knowing your break-even points, getting control of your finances to be able to grow your business while you can talk to me any time of the day, 24/7. And that is the beauty of AI. Like, do you remember, even some of my clients, they will message me. Obviously, sometimes I'm in different time zones, or obviously I'm only in my WhatsApp a couple of times a day, and I'll get back to everyone extremely quickly as soon as I've seen their message. But people will have questions 11 o'clock at night. We know what it's like at 1 o'clock in the morning when we can't sleep, and you're like, what about this idea? Well, now they'll go to KG AI. Now, the reason why this is better, and yes, I am claiming that it's better than ChatGPT or Claude for you, is because it's industry specific. So everything I physically do, everything I teach, my trainings, they've all been injected into this AI to be able to literally be like me. So that is another thing that you can use for your productivity. I'll get clients that go, you was asleep last night, but I asked KG AI this is a response. What do you think? And then I will be like, yes or no, or tweak this. But most of the time it is perfect down to a T of the advice that I would give. So definitely use that. I will put the link in the show notes. But that's a game changer for people. So the tools I use just to close this episode is obviously ChatGPT. I'm not really using that as much now as I was, because now I'm a Claude lover. So we've got Claude. Then I use the app Captions. So you might want to download that if you want. They do really good captions for like your videos and stuff. You have to pay for it. It's very annoying, but it's more branded to then you rather than the captions that you might get on TikTok or Instagram. Obviously the Salon Success Manager, like I've said, and also the AI company that we're partnered with. If you want to give that a go and test that, then just let me know and I'll get you on the demo call, because my gosh, that is going to speed up your income, your success really quickly, and gets rid of receptionists. Like, why would we pay receptionists now? Like, I'm really sorry for the receptionist listening to this, but we don't need them for the same reasons that we used to. We now need them in a different way. So they still have their roles. We still potentially would need them in some aspects, but maybe not for as many hours, or maybe would get them doing bigger tasks rather than just answering phones. The other one that I use for those that do video clips is OpusClip. That's really good if you produce long form content, a bit like a training or a podcast, and you can pull it in there and it will tell you all the best viral clips, and it's all done with AI, and then it can clip them for you. So we've used that quite a lot for the podcast. And then also there's Higgsfield. Now Higgsfield's very good for videos. and for imagery. So if you're like me, I hate Canva. Like, I hate it. I cannot stand it when I'm like, oh, this will be easy to make. And then I'll go on Canva and it's taken me 3 hours. Like, what a waste of time. That's a £10 job. We are not doing that. Whereas things like Claude does this quite well now, but I haven't really tested it out on Claude because I use Higgsfield. It will help me produce my images perfectly. So we recently updated the website, it's not KG, I'm so used to saying that now, katiegodfrey.com. And I needed different product images for all the different products that we have. And I was like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to go onto Canva, or my team are going to have to go on Canva, but I prefer them to be doing something way better than that. So I used Higgsfield and it produced all the photos for me, and I loved them. And I could tweak them, I could give them my brand colours, I could describe exactly what I want that picture to be, and it would give them. So yes, I would definitely download those apps. I just think, just to remember, at the forefront of your mind all the time is the personal branding piece, because as much as I'm loving AI and I am definitely an advocate for it, I love the fact that I can get so much done now a lot faster and half the cost, because we don't need as big a team as we used to. But you still have to have then that personal brand building in the background. So when people see your stuff on socials, they can see who you are, rather than just everything now being swipe across, not using imagery, not showing up on camera, not doing your face to cams, because we want to make sure that people are still buying into you as a whole rather than anything else. So use AI as your productivity tool to speed you up, to help you mentally, but don't let it replace you. The personal branding piece is the biggest piece of all right now, with the rise of AI, because that is your asset. And that's what I want you to remember. That is your asset. That is what people are going to remember you. So bear that in mind. But I hope that helps. There's loads I could talk about on AI, but I don't want to confuse you if you haven't really been using it yet. So use these tips first, reproduce your content. You can get volume out there without it taking too much of your time. Just make sure you really make it sound like you still. So I hope that helps, and I'll speak to you soon.